Well, good morning, everyone. And once again, welcome to another live this morning. A little bit late coming on here. I was delayed for a minute or two. And let's see, question and answer Friday. I know this is always a popular time. And who's on with us this morning? Brenda, I just missed someone. And Kevin, good morning. Sue, how are ya? Andrea, Niagara Falls, good morning. Linda, we love Lindas. Rosa, good morning. Jeanette from our staff. And Mary, Norwich. Francis Marie, good morning. And Michelle, how are ya? And Lise, bonjour. Donna, Park Hill. And Georgina, Halifax. Nick from our staff, Natalia, Jeanette, Diane, Thunder Bay, good morning, good morning. Carol, good morning. And Diane from, did I already say Diane? LaSalle, Springdale, Newfoundland. I can't see as well. Wendy, Markham, Catherine, Parksville, British Columbia. It gets in that light a little bit. Mara and Adeline, good morning. Denise, bonjour. Alberta, Rita, a little bit late. Yeah, I'm a little bit late. And see, I can't see when it goes up. Hello, bonjour, Lynn, Carolyn, Edmonton, good morning. Jackie. And John, Elgin, Illinois. Rhoda, good morning. And Sharon, how are you? We just want to say hello to Darlene and Etta. Let me just see if I got my emails here so I can read the questions. And hold on, I've got to get this done. The questions I know are here, but I've got to get on here. And my Wi-Fi, here we go. And sorry guys, I was just trying to share the password here. Let's see, it's coming up, and let's see if that email comes in so I can read all the questions on my iPad here. And let me just see. One of the questions about the reset, here we go. Okay, just coming up here now. What if I have high potassium? And this is Dawn asking the question about potassium. Listen, okay? If you have high potassium, it's not because you're eating too many bananas, okay? Because people, they think of potassium is, and then, by the way, you got more potassium in steak than you have in a banana. Because I just don't know how many people, especially my generation and the generation of my parents, believed that potassium, you had to eat bananas to get potassium, okay? But Dawn is asking the question, what if I have too much potassium? Well, that isn't a food problem. That is, well, let me rephrase that. That is a kidney problem. If you have high potassium or low potassium, that happens at the kidney level, okay? And the kidneys, more than anything else, are influenced by sugar, okay? Teaching. What does sugar do in the bloodstream? Okay, what does sugar do in the bloodstream? How come your body is dedicated to get sugar out of your bloodstream? Your body is very, very smart, fearfully and wonderfully made. It knows how toxic sugar is. So what does it do? Out, 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 out. But if you have even elevated sugar, okay, if you have elevated sugar, one of the first things it does, it affects your capillaries, okay? It affects blood. It starts to destroy capillaries. And when you look at your eyes, and when you think of kidneys, think of blood supply and think of capillaries. So sugar, there's nothing that will be more destructive to your kidneys than sugar, okay? I always tell people that because they have this idea, it's been ingrained in them. It's protein. Protein's bad. Protein's bad. Protein's bad. Too much protein is hard on your kidneys. No, it's not. When you have protein in your urine, it's because you're eating too much sugar. It's those carbs. It's the crappy carbohydrates that is destructive to the kidney. So if you have high potassium, you got kidney stress. You're not regulating your sodium and potassium. You have a sodium and potassium pump in your cells. What regulates that, okay, more than anything else, is your kidney function. So all I'm saying, Dawn, is if you have high potassium, you got kidney stress. And if you have kidney stress, it's because, 99% of the time, it's because of carbohydrates. It's because of sugar. Lay off that stuff. It's amazing what happens, okay? Now, some people can have kidney disease and, but again, generally, that's what you look for. Louise, I try and eat red meat lately, but every time I have a steak or burger or anything with hamburger meat, I have diarrhea the next morning. Well, ordinarily, again, Louise, I don't know you. I don't know your history. I don't know anything, okay? What I do know is this. When there is diarrhea, okay, pretty regular if you eat meat, either you don't have a gallbladder, because, use it or lose it. You never have a gallbladder problem, by the way. You never have a gallbladder problem, by the way. If, you never have a gallbladder if you use it. Your gallbladder's your body is meant to eat fat. Protein and fat. Think about food for a minute. What are the best foods in the world? It's a combination of protein and fat. Perfect. And no carb. Eggs, no carbohydrates. Meat, there's no carbs. Cheese, there's no carbs. There might be 1 gram. They're just, it's dairy, okay? And I don't like milk unless you got a cow in the backyard. And it's meat, it's the farm. The farm, it's the best thing for you. Now, if Louise, you have developed diarrhea, it's ordinarily because you don't have a gallbladder or your gallbladder is gummed up. Okay, it's gummed up. And, you've got to give me more, why is my body rejecting red meats? Well, it ain't rejecting red meats per se. You might not just be breaking down the fats, okay? Look, I've been around for a long time, okay? In practice for almost 50 years. Can I be honest with you? I never met more than 2 cases in all of those years that people didn't do well with red meat. Okay? Why eat chicken when you can eat steak? That was what I used to tell people. But hey, if is it possible? The other thing that you do, if you don't have a gallbladder, even if your gallbladder is gummed up, you need to get digestive enzymes to break the food down. But if you can't you're one of the rare ones, Louise, that just can't digest red meat anymore. I suggest you come off it for a week and then see how you do. And if you don't, you can't eat red meat, you better get B12 and take a supplement every day of B12. Okay? Thanks for the question. Okay? Nancy, what is your opinion on someone that has been diagnosed with triple positive breast cancer? Well, I have a protocol for breast cancer, and triple positive, your cells in the breast cells are super sensitive to estrogen. You better get that down. Estrogen is everywhere. Xenoestrogens are everywhere. You're never going to get away from them. You better block it. Okay? And dim it. I call it dimming it out. Get it out. The other thing with breast cancer, okay, is lower your insulin. Lower estrogen, lower insulin. With every cancer. Estrogen is a growth hormone. When men get prostate problems, estrogen. Testosterone's not high enough. They're getting the womanly hormone goes way up, and the testosterone goes down. But in breast cancer, estrogen, all cancers, rephrase, all breast cancer is estrogen receptive. And, I get arguments about that because, I've had people, well, my doctor said I wasn't receptive to estrogen. I said, are you a woman? Yeah. Well, you're receptive to estrogen. Your cells love estrogen. Now, some love estrogen more than others. But if you're a woman, you love estrogen. And breast cells are super sensitive to estrogen. It always drove me crazy when people said, oh, doc, it's not estrogen. Yes, it is. It's a bad combination of estrogen and insulin. Insulin is another growth hormone. So I always get people to, when you've got breast cancer, here's the facts. Get estrogen down, dim it out. Okay? Dim it out. 2, okay, that's why I like flax seeds. Why do I like flax seeds? Okay? Why do I like them? Because they lower estrogen. And they lower estrogen because they are 100 times more lignans in flaxseed than any other seed. They block estrogen. Dr. Martin, first of all, flax seeds have phytoestrogens in them. I know, but God put these lignans that block estrogen in the flax seed. That's why I like flax seeds, okay? I don't like flax oil. I like flax seeds because they block estrogen. So block estrogen. Then, how do you block insulin? Very simple. Carbs, 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 like we talked about yesterday, right? Harvard is even saying, get the carbs down. They were shocked at what happens when you lower carbohydrates. Now, they were talking about diabetics, but it doesn't matter. Get insulin down. Insulin is a growth hormone. Then, high levels of vitamin D, if at all possible. And doctors usually don't see the connection between vitamin D and their immune system. It's criminal. You know what's criminal? That medicine doesn't know anything about vitamin D other than it's supposed to be good for your bones. That's all they know. If they would only read, I've got 150, 200 studies on the importance of vitamin D for the immune system, for inflammation, for you name it, from your head to the toes. You are a human solar panel, and your T cells, your lymphatic system, your immune system won't work properly without vitamin D. It just won't. You need vitamin D. Now, the best way to get vitamin D is in the sun when it's out. But I always got cancer patients, and I'm writing a new book. It's coming out. Believe you me when I tell you, it's on its way now. It's very close. You know what it? Sun, steak, and steel. But in the sun chapter, I bring you all these studies that was done on vitamin D and the immune system. And it should be a therapeutic for cancer. It should be just routine. Oh, you got cancer? Take vitamin D. But it's not going to happen. You're going to have to do it on your own. But one of the things I want people to do is get their vitamin D levels checked in their blood. Your serum dehydroxy 25, okay? I know. Doctors don't like to do it. They think it's crazy. There's no reason, you don't have osteoporosis. Why do you want to get your vitamin D levels checked? Because Dr. Martin said so. Oh, okay. So any cancer patient has got to get that vitamin D above 60 to 100 for cancer. In Canadian numbers, that's American numbers, above 60, okay? And up into 100 to 100. I like it up in those ranges to fight cancer. In the Canadian equivalent, you're looking at, at least 180 to, 250. That's what I like in vitamin D levels. Okay? Because it will help. It will help fight cancer, man. Okay? So, high DHA. A buried study. Within 2 weeks, 14 days, what high DHA does. It attacks the cancer from the inside. It destroys tumors. But, okay? And of course, no sugar, honey. No sugar. No sugar. And you know what? I brought this before to you. Cut back on oxalates. Don't drink green juices with the breast cancer. Oxalates bring you fibrous tissue in your breast cells. Okay? Somebody asked about oxalates here. Oh, Sherilyn. Sherilyn, just a question. Is coffee high in oxalates? No. And Sherilyn, I'm not blaming you, okay, for asking the question. A lot of people ask me questions. Okay? Listen. Linda's out there. Listen. There is nothing negative about coffee unless you put sugar in it. Okay? Coffee is the real vitamin C. It has 1,000 phytonutrients. When you have, Nancy, if this is for you or for somebody who's been diagnosed with triple positive breast cancer, drink coffee. It's good for your immune system. It's a great detox. It helps to lower insulin resistance. It's been associated with lowering all forms of cancer. Coffee. And guys, you got to admit this. I've been consistent. okay? And I won't back down. I won't back down because I read all the studies. I read them all. And so when you see a negative thing like, oh, coffee is high in oxalates, from who does it come from? Right? Coffee is acidic. Coffee's no good for you. It's acidic. You know, I remember people were boasting that they quit coffee. I said, in the 70s, around me, Don, Martin, I quit coffee. I said, that was foolish. In the 70s, I said that. What? I said, that's foolish. Don't listen to the nonsense. Coffee is one of the greatest antioxidants that you can take. The real vitamin C. And I won't back down. I think there's a song about that. Isn't it Johnny Cash? I won't back down. Okay. Thanks, Sherilyn, for the question. Okay, Lise, what would cause ear problems every time you have a virus and cold? Well, look, not everybody gets that, but some people do. Generally, every time someone gets a virus or a cold and it hits their sinuses, it's their weak spot. And I'm going to make a suggestion to you, because ordinarily when that happens, you have had a sinus infection that, you know, might have been viral, might have been bacterial, but you know what got in there? Okay, you know what got in your sinuses, including your ear canals? Of fungus, a yeast. Okay? And if, you know, depending, you know, Lise, I don't know you, so I'm just telling you, you have to treat the underlying condition. You know, when you get a cold, okay, or you get, you know, you get it, and it always seems to attack your sinuses. Weak spot, weak spot, weak spot. People, everybody's got a weak spot. Some people, they get a bug and it's right into their lungs. But I'm telling you, and women, they get recurring bladder infections, sinuses, bladder, similar. There is a yeast there, and it sits in there. It loves moisture. It is the first cousin to mold, and it loves sinuses. It'll stay in there and in there and in there. And a lot of people in between, they'll get a postnasal drip. And the first time they get a virus or whatever, every time and it seems to attack the sinuses. Okay, think fungus. What do? I like oil of oregano. It's antifungal, it's antiviral, it's antibacterial, it's anti-everything, okay? I'm a big guy on oil of oregano. And by the way, our oil of oregano should be available, and this is the best one on the market. I can tell you that. I've always liked it. You guys know that. But this is fabulous, and I love oil of oregano, okay? We put it in our digestive enzyme even for SIBO, okay? Really called SIFO, small intestine fungal overgrowth. Yeast, fungus, and yeast grows. And yeast loves moisture. And yeast loves sugar. One of the things, okay, and I don't know if, Lise, you have ever done the reset, well then I would recommend it, because you're not going to have any sugar for 30 days at all. That really helps people with sinuses. Now, you might be part of the community to Lise, and again, I'm only telling you my experience. You might be part of the folks that have trouble with dairy, okay? So check that out, okay? And that, for some, they don't do well with dairy, and that can affect their sinuses, and, usually not cheese so much, but, like other dairy products. So just, again, that is be Dr. Lee's, okay? Be your own doctor. You don't have to get tested for it because the tests are highly unreliable anyway. They really are, okay? Like food sensitivity testing, I'm not big on it. I really have never been big on it. Some people insisted on it. I said, okay, I'm hooked up with a lab in the United States. Give me your blood. I'll send it out. You want to give me your blood, I'll do it. But I never liked it. I said, be Dr. Lee's. Be your own doctor. Do the elimination. Oh, what happens when I don't have any dairy for a week? Oh, geez, that seems, well, there's a clue. Okay? And again, usually underlying all of those issues is leaky gut, where your gut, the lining and the border between your gut and your blood is compromised, either because of antibiotics in the past, okay, or whatever. Now you have a yeast, the invading army. I should write a book about the invading army. Fungus, okay? I've been a big guy on that. I've been talking about that for years. And leaky gut, leaky sinuses, leaky gut, leaky lungs, leaky gut, leaky skin, leaky gut, leaky brain, leaky gut, leaky joints. So, thank you very, very much, Lee. Deborah, where is vitamin D sourced from to make the supplement? Well, good vitamin D3 is from sheep's wool. Okay? There's a process from sheep's wool that gives you true vitamin D3. And vitamin D2 is sourced from other sources. You can't absorb vitamin D2. I don't like it. If you see like a cereal fortified or milk fortified with vitamin D, it's vitamin D2. Your body doesn't even absorb it. Again, what is the best way to get vitamin D? The sun on your skin. Okay, you were asking about this, okay? Also, is it true that our skin cannot absorb vitamin D from the sun if we just had a shower and washed off the skin's oil? Deborah, no, I wouldn't worry about that. There's some people out there say, you got to be in everything's got to be perfect to get vitamin D. No. Get in the sun. Don't use sunscreen, because if you use sunscreen on your solar panels, your arms, these are the best solar panels in the world, right here, and your legs, okay? And they're solar panels. I mean, your whole body's a solar panel, but some of them are better to absorb vitamin D, okay? So if you got sunscreen on there, well, you're protecting yourself from the UV B. But what you should be protecting yourself is from UVA. And when you eat well, and when you don't burn in the sun, remember, in 20 minutes, exposed to the sun, not through a window, not in your car, when you sunbathe or you're out in the sun, 20 minutes, you get 10,000 international units. Now that would, you see, I'll tell you what physicians know about vitamin D. Nothing. Because if they did, they wouldn't be scared of 10,000 international units of vitamin D. That's what you get in 20 minutes of the sun. And I know you don't want to get in a burn and, doc, my kids are going to be in the pool and this and that. I know. Cover them up. If you got to let them swim with a t-shirt, get the light t-shirts or whatever. But give them 20 minutes in the sun. And then cover them up. Wear a hat. And light long sleeve or whatever. And I know but that sunscreen, man, oh man, they're starting to prove what I've been saying since the 1970s. You put that stuff on, you add heat, and now you got toxins going into your bloodstream. They're carcinogenic. I can't stand it. It's been bothering me for years. Ooh. Okay? And melanoma is when you don't get sun. And one of the things, and this, it's the research is starting to come in on this. When you clean up your diet, when you get rid of sugars, when you get rid of those crappy oils, okay, everything that's in the middle aisle of the grocery store, from cookies to crackers to crappy dinner or to whatever else is in there. When you stop eating those things, it's amazing how much better you do in the sun. You see, your skin is an organ. Your skin is an organ. It's the one you see, but it's an organ. And I always tell people, when you're looking at the skin, think of inside out. Everybody's outside in. Okay? Outside, I'm going to block the sun. Okay? On the skin. Work from the inside out and you don't burn. And it doesn't mean you just lie there for 3 hours. I always laugh because we're Canadians in Florida in January because we're the only ones on the beach. Okay. Oh, must be a Canadian. Look at the out in the, But I'm always upset with Floridians and people that live in the southern hemisphere. And they have low levels of vitamin D. How crazy is that? How crazy is that? But they bought the lie. Scared skinny of the sun. Scared skinny of the sun. Craziness. What was I saying through the virus? Let's get everybody outside. Let's get everybody on the beach. We would have saved money by putting everybody in cargo jets from Canada. Okay. When you look at how much it costs the economy, they would have saved money by putting everybody in cargo jets and back and forth, bring us to Florida and let us sit on the beach. Oh, Dr. Martin, what about 6 feet apart? I don't care. They made that up. That was never true. You want to build your immune system? Get in the sun. Sun, steak, and steel. And I mean it. Nah, it don't wash off, okay? It doesn't wash off. I'm sorry. Michelle, what are my thoughts on modified milk ingredients in dairy? Well, Michelle, here's my big thoughts on it, okay? We live in a very, very imperfect world, okay? We really do. It is so hard. I always tell my farmer friends, okay? I said 2 things. You owe me money. They look at me. What? Well, I said I'm your best friend. I'm always talking about eggs, meat, and cheese. Getting it from the farm. Dairy. And they said, okay. I said, you owe me money. 1. 2. Okay? If you can get your products from a farm, you got a farmer as a friend, well, good for you. Excellent. okay? I mean, it's illegal in many places to even get milk, right? Right from the cow. No, they wanna pasteurize it, and they wanna, denature it. Man thinks they're so stinking smart, and they always, better in the grocery store because it's been pasteurized and it's been homogenized and it's been this and that and the other thing, okay? And by the time it gets to the grocery store, I tell people, well, you don't need to drink that milk because it's white Pepsi now. It's become a processed drink, okay? Now, they're killing all the bacteria in there. There's good bacteria in milk. Okay? Right out of the cow. But anyway, we can't even get it. Now, the question is, okay, modified milk ingredients in dairy. Well, you see what happens. By the time you get to the grocery store, things have happened to dairy. And all I'm saying is, okay, I bring you my thinking. Okay, I bring you my thinking, Michelle. Okay, if you are in, I said this yesterday because I was getting on our private Facebook group. Okay, they were asking about fruit. Dr. Martin, what about fruit? Well, look, and I'll say this about milk ingredients. If you are in the 93%, okay, of people that have metabolic syndrome. 93%. Only 7% of the population is healthy, really. The other ones have trouble with insulin. Get the big picture first. That's why I use the illustration of the Titanic. If you're on the Titanic, don't worry about the furniture. We'll worry about the furniture after. Okay, do you know what I mean? Don't arrange the deck chairs on the Titanic. Okay? Don't worry about that right yet. And milk ingredients, modified milk ingredients in dairy, well, look, if you're just starting out on this journey with us, okay, you got the memo. What's the worst thing? Let's lower our insulin. How do we do that? Get rid of those crappy carbs. Get rid of sugar. Okay? 30 days. No sugar, no crappy carbs. Out of your diet. Okay? That is changing course because you're heading towards the iceberg. Okay? Now, you're on this journey a little further. You're already better. You're already, you know how to eat. You know the importance of eggs, meat, and cheese. You understand whole foods. And you've even got some vegetables and a little bit of fruit in your diet. Okay? Good for you. And then you can, if you can afford it, you go organic. If you can afford it, you got a farmer that you get the meat from, and you get your, all your eggs from, and, it's all free range and better. I like all that, okay? I love all that. But like I said, don't put the cart before the horse. I think you guys understand what I'm saying. And a lot of you are so educated in nutrition, I've given you an honorary degree. Well, you folks, if you see modified milk ingredient, and you can find a better substitute, but I'm going to tell you something. It's better to have modified milk ingredients than it is to have orange juice. It ain't even close. Okay? Get the big picture first. And then you start, going down the road and you read labels, you understand things. Get the big picture first. That's really important. And you have to understand, because some people criticize me. I said, well, listen, every day we get new listeners. I want to teach them. I want them to get on a program where they start changing their life because they're on the Titanic. You understand where I'm coming from? Okay? So I don't mind you asking those questions because now you're on the journey. But don't start with that. Start with the big picture. I hope I made that. Okay, one more question. Jackie, does cooking meat fully kill parasites in the meat if it's in there? Well, cooking sure helps it. Okay, now listen. Just let me finish with this. If you think you're going to get rid of everything in the world, you are going to be paranoid. Okay? If I showed you the bacteria, okay? I used to do this to people. Okay? Take a little swab of their skin. I put it under a very powerful microscope, and they would see things crawling around. I said, you're made to live with those things. Okay? Like, you want to be parasite-free? No. Okay? No. Because that's impossible in this world. You want to live in a bubble? So, Jackie, what's the big picture? Keep your immune system strong. That's why I love probiotics. That's why I love vitamin D. Because you're going to be exposed to parasites. There's going to be meat. There's going to be vegetables. There's going to be fruit. And if you just cut an apple and you put it, I mean it, under a microscope, if you saw the organisms, okay, you wouldn't eat anything. Okay? But you don't want to be germ-free. Okay? I'm not saying that you don't cook meat, that you eat it raw. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that you are always going to be exposed to those things. Don't be scared of them. Keep your immune system strong. Stay away from leaky gut. Okay? That kind of thing. And your body, which is fearfully and wonderfully made, and you have an immune system firing on all cylinders, it's called you win. Bugs lose. Okay? You win and bugs lose. It's the immune system. It's the immune system. Okay, guys. Sorry I was a little bit late. Have I told you lately that I love you? We're here in Milwaukee, big wedding. Dr. Tony Jr.'s daughter is getting married tomorrow. So all of our family and all friends are down around us here, and we're going to have a great time. See you soon.